Today, I'm going to go over the 3 problems from your worksheet from yesterday that most people, yesterday from Wednesday, that most people struggle with. This is just 3 of them. It's not all of them. So if you have questions about the others, make sure you go to tutoring or ask your teacher. So number 5, and this is from the worksheet from Wednesday, September 9th. At a fast food place, workers wrap 184 hamburgers every hour. So that is something I need to know. 184 hamburgers every hour. They work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. They get paid every 2 weeks with a salary of $840.34. How many hamburgers, I'm looking for hamburgers, will they have to wrap to make their first $1 million? And then your answer should have 3 significant figures. So with this one, probably the hardest part is figuring out what number do I start my problem with. And so a little hint is you're never going to start a problem with a conversion factor. So like 184 hamburgers equals an hour. That's a conversion factor, not starting with that. 8 hours a day. I can't start with 8 hours. That's a conversion factor. 5 days a week. That's a conversion factor, not starting with that. And then 2 weeks, salary of $840. That's also a conversion factor, not starting with that one. And so the only other number we have left is $1 million. And that's what we start with this one. So look for the number in the problem that isn't a conversion factor, and that's what you usually start with. So 1 million, which is 6 zeros in case you didn't know. Okay, so I've got $1 million. My unit, and it's not normally a unit, but it is right now, is dollar. And so we know they get paid $840 every 2 weeks. So we need to cancel out that unit dollar. And so I'm going to put $840 at the bottom and 34 cents. And they get paid that much every 2 weeks. So that will go up top, 2 weeks. Now my dollar unit is canceled out. Okay, and then I have 2 weeks. So I need to get rid of that unit week. Looking back in the problem, it says they work 5 days a week. So moving on, I've got 5 days in a week. So next I'm going to put 1 week at the bottom because that gets rid of the week unit and 5 days. That's how much these people work. So now my week unit is canceled out, and now I have the unit day, which isn't what I want. I wanted hamburger, but we'll get there. What does it say about a day? They work 8 hours every day. So another one. And I'm going to put 1 day at the bottom so that the day unit cancels. So 1 day, 8 hours. And then that gets rid of my day unit. And now I have hours and I want hamburgers. Don't forget to go back and reread the problem. I'm looking for hamburgers. And it says they wrap 184 hamburgers every hour. So I'm going to have to write this because I don't have any more room underneath here. But hours is up top. So 1 hour at the bottom. And then 184 hamburgers. And I'm going to write HB. And then our hours unit cancels out. And so $1 million, $840 in 2 weeks, 1 week, 5 days, 1 day, 8 hours, 1 hour, 184 hamburgers. And so the way I would type this into my calculator would be 1 million, and obviously you don't type in commas, times 2, times 5, times 8, times 184, close parentheses, divided by, and then opening your parentheses, 840.34, and then it's times 1, times 1, times 1, so we'll just leave that there. And when I do that, what do I get? Should get a very large number, because if you're going to make $1 million wrapping hamburgers, I'm going to guess that's a lot of hamburgers you have to wrap. And you should get 1,750 1,516,719.42 hamburgers that you have to wrap. Now the question asked for 3 significant figures. So I'm going to have to round that number to be 3 significant figures. And it sometimes helps when you're rounding, and I'm going to erase all of this and rewrite that number larger so we can actually read what's going on. So that number again was 1,715,16,719.42, and I like commas help. Oh, and I'm writing random numbers. That was it. So I needed to be 3 significant figures. There are a few ways you could do it. So this 1 is going to stay, this 7 is going to stay, and this 5 is going to stay. This is a 1 after the 5, so it doesn't round the 5 up. So one way you can make this 3 significant figures is you could say 175,000,000 hamburgers. That would be 3 significant figures. You could also change it to scientific notation. And so if you wanted to do that, you would still have to drop all of these numbers though. Now we change them to 0. Which in the long term, what's the difference between 17,516,000 and 17,500,000? It is very, very close. That's not going to change. It doesn't change the value that much. And that's what rounding does. Rounding does change the value some. But you could make that scientific notation if you want, and it would be 1.75 times 10 to the, I think 7. Maybe it's 8. I don't know, but something like that. You can go recount. But either way would get you to 3 sig figs. Okay, number 6. Travis is responsible for buying fabric for a project. Each piece of the project requires 14 inches of fabric. So each piece is 14 inches. There are 32 pieces that need to be made. And I want to know how many yards of fabric Travis will need to buy. So we're looking for yards. And then we need to figure out what to start this off with. And so I did tell you each piece is 14 inches. You never start dimensional analysis with a conversion factor. So I'm not going to start with that number. And the only other number that's in this problem is 32 pieces. And that's what we're going to start with. So 32 pieces. And then I told you each piece has 14 inches. And so to get rid of that unit piece, I'm going to put one piece at the bottom and then 14 inches. Now we're looking for yards. Maybe you're not up to date on your regular units, but there are 12 inches in 1 foot, and then there are 3 feet in 1 yard. And that should get us 2 yards of fabric. Now let's go back and double check our units. Piece cancels with piece, inches cancels with inch, foot and feet cancel, and the unit that we're left with is yard. And so the way I would type this into my calculator, open parentheses, 32 times 14, and then times 1 times 1, you don't have to type that, close, divided by, open. You can write 1 if you want, but 12 times 3. And that will give us the correct answer, which is 12.444444 pieces, which with 2 significant figures becomes 12 pieces, or sorry, not 12 pieces, wrong unit, 12 yards of fabric that Travis is buying. Okay, and then one last one. Determine the volume of 5.2 kilograms of aluminum. So we're going to start with 5.2 kilograms of aluminum. And I want to find volume. And I told you the density of aluminum is 2.7 grams per centimeter cubed. Now, I hope you remembered from the density lab that centimeter cubed is a volume unit. If not, it is. So there you go. And something a lot of people get confused whenever they see like densities like this is that is really telling me that there are 2.7 grams in 1 centimeter cubed. So that is a conversion factor that we can and will use for this problem. So anytime you have a density, if it's 5 grams per milliliter, let's say, that would mean there are 5 grams for every 1 milliliter. That's why you say grams per milliliter. That's how many grams are in 1 milliliter. Or in the case of this example, we pronounce that density 2.7 grams per centimeter cubed. So there are that many grams in 1 centimeter cubed. Okay. But before we can do that, we have our unit kilogram. And so we're going to have to change that to gram to get to the volume unit. And so the conversion for kilogram to gram is there's 1 kilogram in 1,000 grams. And then I put kilogram at the bottom so that those units can cancel out. And now we have gram. And then we can use this little density conversion factor. So there are 2.7 grams in 1 centimeter cubed. So I'm going to put 2.70 grams at the bottom and 1 centimeter cubed up top. And that gets rid of my gram unit. And then the only unit I have left is centimeter cubed, which is the volume unit, which is what the problem is asking for. And so let me erase this. To type this into the calculator, I would type open parentheses 5 times 1,000. You can write times 1 if you want, close, divided by 2.7. And if you want to put 2.7 in parentheses, you can. You don't have to because it's getting multiplied by 1, which doesn't change the number at all. And so that is 185, so 1.851852. Now I want the answer to have 2 significant figures. So we can tell you right now we're going to drop those decimals, but how do we make 1851 2 significant figures? Well, this 5 right here is going to round that 8 up. And so it would become 1,900 centimeters cubed as your final answer. And so this was just 3 of the problems from yesterday. If you have questions on the other, ask your teacher or head to Pre-AP Chemistry Tutoring.